The show is brought to you by our generous patrons at patreon.com/FalloutLorecast.
Robots Radio presents the Fallout Lorecast.
Welcome to the Fallout Lorecast, a place for the Fallout community to come together to explore the boundaries of our knowledge about the world of Fallout. Welcome back to the Fallout Lorecast, everybody. This has been quite the episode already. We've been trying to get Lainey onto the show. She's been having some audio issues with her computer. So instead, you're going to have just me and our very special guest for this episode, the second episode we have for the month of Spooptober, a man who you might know from the Fallout community, one of everybody's favorite people, somebody who just loves to give. He has set up Fallout for Hope 2 years running now. We're coming up on our second year. He is the brains, the genius behind the Chad of Fallout 76 podcast, a wonderful streamer, a wonderful creator, and a wonderful friend of mine also from the Fallout Hub show, Kenneth Vigue. Welcome to the show, Kenneth. How's it going?
Good. I don't know what to say after all that.
Well, you can say,
if you stick around, I have gotten pretty good at contacting people from beyond. So we'll try and use this crystal ball to contact Lainey later.
Oh, I should have said, and seance expert. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I didn't know you were dabbling in the contacting of the beyond. Also, she's not dead. She just doesn't have audio on her laptop. So
no, she has passed beyond our reach.
Oh, all right.
She's on the other side of the veil.
All right. Yes. And if you are not currently watching us, we are in very spoopy mood, or mode, not mood, mood too, mood and mode. We'll just both, right? Like Ken's got a very spooky background. I changed the coloring on my screen so I look very pale. I'm kind of vampiric in appearance, and we've got the different colors behind me. So we're in the mood and the mode to talk what is to you, Kenneth Vigue, the most unsettling things in Fallout. And I want to kick this off. Because we haven't, I pitched you the idea. You haven't spoiled it to me yet. So this is going to be an experience for me because I don't know what you're going to say at all. This is a surprise for me as well. And I know on your show, the Chad of Fallout 76 podcast, you've done some unsettling things with the characters. I mean, you're the writer, you're the creator of the show. You've had the Sickle Man. You've had some
the Overseer being a serial killer.
You had some unsettling things happen to those poor characters, including alluding to sleeping with Deathclaws and the murdering of characters while they do certain things in the show. But I want to know because you're relatively new to the series in a way ish, but not really new to the series, but still kind of new to the series. Like you fell in love with 76 in a way that you didn't really fall in love with the other games, sort of.
No,
right? But in a multiplayer way.
In a multiplayer way, yes.
Yes, like the multiplayer aspect of it caught you in a different way than, like, I know that you love New Vegas. You love the character of House. We talked about that on a previous episode. But multiplayer aspect of it hit you in a different way. So I'm curious about, like, how does that affect what you feel about the unsettling nature of the world and all of that? Like, does that play into it in any way?
I don't think so. I mean, for me, 76 got me into the community more than it did anything else. So it served as kind of a gateway there. I mean, before I loved the hell out of the Fallout games, but I didn't digest other media. Like I wasn't hunting down build videos on YouTube or talking to people or podcasting or writing or any of that kind of thing.
Right. So new to the series isn't really the right way to say it. New to multiplayer is probably the way to, that's really the way to, I should have phrased it. So let's kick this off. When you think of unsettling things in Fallout, the things that have given you kind of the heebie-jeebies, that get you under your skin, like what really gets you?
Let's go back through the mists of time to the very beginning. There are a band of people heading to Mariposa military base. The year is 2102.
Back in time to the future. Got it.
Yep. Back in time to the future of the past of the future. One of them, Richard Moreau, who changed his name to Richard Gray, who already was a lovely murderer,
Wonderful
ended
person.
up getting a little bit of that FEB juice on him. Little bit of the juice. That's Tom sips juice. Which actually that looked a little like FEV.
It's kind of green. Yeah.
Yep. Tom's drinking FEV, everybody.
Yeah. Oh no.
To me, I when you asked me this question, I thought about the previous games, the most unsettling things that I personally found, just from an existential horror standpoint. So here you have Richard Moreau / Richard Gray. He gets the FEV and becomes this blobby technological monstrosity horror known as the Master.
Yes.
And like the animations that they did, the face animations in Fallout 1 and 2 are so unsettling.
Yes. So yeah, we're going back to Fallout 1 and 2, and I'm gonna look up the Master GIF and see if I can put this up on screen while we talk about it.
Like, it's properly terrifying the way that they animated the way in which they speak. Even Fallout 1, when you first meet the Overseer and he sends you out on that mission, it's just like all up in your face, close to the screen, and you can see like pores, and it's just unsettling.
Oh yeah.
But particularly the Master, the way in which she's just sort of melted into the computers, is just a really horrifying visual. Probably the most unsettling mutation that I've seen in all of Fallout history.
Yeah.
And then you get like his split personality voice with the guy. Like,
he's like just dripping. It's like the flesh is like dripping around the computer, and it's a human who became like a Cthulhu Lovecraftian Euclidean horror. He's just sort of lost his humanity and he's become this thing. It's terrifying. Yeah, here we go. I found it. Let me see if I can get this up on screen while you talk about this. So how
is this the swimsuit issue picture?
So when was the first time you saw this? Do you know?
Fallout 1 and 2 I didn't play, but I had friends who did. So I remember like late at night, we'd have high school parties on weekends, drinking schnapps illegally.
Schnapps?
And we just hang out and play goofy games. Fallout 1 and 2 we would play, or I would watch people play. And I remember being horrified by the animations, but we'd also play weird games like Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh yeah. Oh man, those classics. Yeah, here he is. We've got him up on screen right here. There he is. Look at that. Look at that Master. He's got and the tentacle that goes out to the eyeball that looks around. That's something that doesn't get discussed enough.
That is a face for radio.
Oh man, look at him. It's so good. Yeah, and his mouth is moving. There's the computer screen underneath and kind of inside the gooey, fleshy bits underneath his head. And yeah, it's...
What a stud. That is just horrifying.
Yeah, so good. All right. Well, yes. Yeah, I can imagine that. Like, that is disturbing. That is clearly something that you don't show your children. There's a reason why this game was rated M. That's one of the reasons. Clearly. I
mean, the Fallout games are just so dark. And even the newer games, even though like Fallout 4, and I think we've even talked about this, Fallout 4 and 76 have a very Technicolor palette. Like they're very bright and vibrant. And I think because of that, when you do have moments where you find something unsettling, it's even more unsettling because it's this bright, cheery world. And then you come across this horrifyingly sad story or just a really unsettling scene, whether it's with teddy bears or corpses.
Yeah, yeah, they do kind of set that up in a there's a juxtaposition of like the happy-go-lucky kind of candy cane lollipop thing on top of like the super sad underneath thing that's going on with her. I think because of that, some people just miss it. I think that's another aspect that you don't notice it sometimes. Like you have to sit and look and go, oh, this is what's really going on underneath this. And then you go, and then you realize, oh, this really is tragic. This really is bad. And I think sometimes that actually makes it like when you realize what's going on, the disconnection makes it even worse. But I think that a lot of people who just play the game to shoot stuff and aren't paying attention to the story and what's actually going on, I think in some ways they just gloss over it. They don't see the terrible nature of what's going on. And so it kind of serves to do both things in a strange kind of way.
I think you have to take time to pay attention more, like you said.
Yeah.
Because you're not really looking for the darkness. And then particularly if the story's being told through holotapes or notes or scenes that you just come across, unless you're looking for it, you might walk past it. Right.
It's easy to just kind of, oh, there's another teddy bear. That's another sad, tragic looking thing, but you don't really pay attention to it. Or, so many people will do like the side quests, like in 76, you'll have one of the companions. And you'll just kind of do a funny little side quest and you're like, oh, this is a funny little side quest. Or, oh, these characters are arguing, skip, shoot this guy. Okay, finish side quest, skip. And you don't realize that like there's a real tragic story underneath all of this. There's a reason why this is going on and everybody's yelling at each other. And there's, a deeply unsettling issue going on here. But okay, yeah, let's skip, kill somebody, move on, which and I think we get kind of desensitized to that because video games, like video games, kill a thing, move on. But like pause, kill someone, that should be unsettling in and of itself. Right? Like kill someone. Yeah, no, that's a problem. Like these are humans.
Speaking of killing someone, that actually takes me into my next unsettling thing.
Oh, okay.
To me, the dark, bad ending of Fallout 1 is as dark as it gets.
Okay. So like, lay this out for our listeners, especially the ones who never got to play Fallout 1.
So you get captured and you're not given a choice. You end up having to disclose the location of your vault. And the super mutants just head on out there, bust their way in. And the cutscene that plays while you're being turned into a super mutant yourself, struggling in this burlap bag, being dunked into the same pit from Tim Burton's Joker movie, Joker origin story from the first Batman movie.
Right.
Like that looks like the same vat exactly. So then the super mutants bust in, and just it is a cutscene of pixelated horror. They're just ripping people in half and shooting people, and then they cut to the overseer on like this OP tank with machine guns. His desk just rises up off the floor and is firing away. And it's you as a super mutant that climbs up on it and proceeds to beat the living crap out of it.
Right.
It's just, that is as dark as it gets. It's probably the darkest ending in any Fallout game I've seen.
Yeah. You turn against the very people who sent you out in the wasteland to help save them.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a super mutant. Yeah. We don't get endings like that in modern Fallout games. Yeah, they do pit you against the other factions that you may have helped out at some point. Like you get the like either or options of like, well, do I save these people or save these people? Now I have to go against people that I might have become friends with. Like you do have the rock and a hard place dilemma, but you don't get the whole let's Fallout 3, for example. There's not a situation where you go evil and turn against Vault 101. Like that's not an option.
I mean, you kind of can. I mean, you can pretty much just kill everybody. My favorite thing, because I found Amada so annoying. By the time you go, so here we're jumping ahead to Fallout 3, but you get summoned back home after leaving to solve a problem. And then after you solve the problem for her, she then proceeds to kick you out again. And at that point, you can just kill her, which I find to be very satisfying.
I mean, you can, but it's not like it forces you into an ending that requires that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Nekomata in chat says, yeah, she's kind of a brat.
Yeah, like her dad wants to kill you, you kill him in self-defense, and all of a sudden you're the bad guy. What's going on here? What are we talking about?
Yeah, the moral system. Yeah, man, putting a moral system into Fallout, it's got to be a tricky thing.
You know, you're right. I'm trying to think. Fallout 4 and 76 don't have that degree of darkness that even we had in Fallout 3. Fallout 3 was pretty dark.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of, I mean, even talking about slavers, which I just don't think would fly in modern Fallout games.
You've got racism issues, which are dark. Like you can't say racism isn't a dark issue.
It's very dark.
It's a very dark issue, but you don't have the idea of like turning on the people who raised you. Like there's something there that's just inherently darker.
Right.
You know, because, I mean, yes, objectifying other people simply because you don't know them is a dark thing. But knowing people and going against them, that's just even a step further because it goes against their trust.
Yeah, it's Fallout 3 in New Vegas too. The dark choices that you have there are really interesting.
Yeah, well, New Vegas. I think New Vegas at its core is darker than the other modern games. Would you agree?
Yeah, I suppose that's true because when you talk about Caesar's Legion,
yeah,
good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about maybe 15, 20 minutes into the game, you're running into a town that has been set on fire and everyone crucified. And then that one derpy guy that had the haircut like Mo Howard from the Three Stooges is like, yeah, I won the lottery. Before he runs off into the sunset.
Right.
And then it's just a whole town crucified. It's just so, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty dark. That's pretty dark. So do you have something on your list for Fallout 3 and New Vegas? Are we going through each of the Fallouts?
I thought we'd go chronologically.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's move into Fallout 3 then. You have something
All right.
there?
So Fallout 3 is an easy one. So Dunwich,
yes,
to me is the weirdest location that it ever stumbled into. And I remember vividly, I remember so much of Fallout 3 vividly because it was the first one that I played and fell in love with. But I remember I was playing late at night and I'm moving through Dunwich and you get all of these crazy messages as this person is slowly transforming into something, into this ghoul. And then he says the name Alzared. And Alzared is interesting because it was in Lovecraftian lore is the writer of the Necronomicon, the Mad Arab. So you've got this fun Lovecraftian tie-in, and then you get down into the bottom of it with that weird, creepy obelisk and these extra creepy ghouls. I also did like too. When you get to the Point Lookout DLC and all of the weird stuff with the cultists and the Punga.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you find the Krivbekne, the dark tome that you have to bring back, or you have the option of bringing back to destroy on that altar. It was, I think, one of the first ways that they tie in DLC back into the main game. That was done incredibly well. But I remember getting so freaked out moving through there because the encounters with things that threaten you they're well paced.
Right.
Meaning you don't.
You're getting a phone call. Ken's getting a phone call. He's a busy guy.
I had to mute my phone call.
So the tie back in and the pacing of it.
Yeah, the tie back in was done really well. Like you're able to get properly creeped out by the music and the atmosphere and everything.
The excuse me, the Dunwich Horrors part of it, that whole building. Fallout 3 was my first introduction to the series, because although I should have probably been playing Fallout 1 and 2, I missed those games. I was playing other games and didn't know anyone else playing those games at the time. So I totally missed out on them when they were in the meta, right? When people were playing them, totally missed out. And so I jumped in at Fallout 3, and when I got to that building, when I didn't finish the main quest line, I started exploring the world. I got to the Dunwich building, and that was when I really started paying attention to the situational storytelling of the game. I really started reading the things I was picking up and noticing the environment. And then I got down to the bottom of the building, and it was almost like working my way through that building compelled me to do so because of the way that it was set up. And that's when it clicked, because I was still new to the game and I was still new to the series, but that's when it clicked. And I was like, this game is different than other role-playing games that I've played. This game is doing something different. It's referencing more than just its own world. The writers are pulling in influences from, Cthulhu-esque media. There's other stuff going on here. It really is doing more. And that, I think, is where, I don't know, my love for the series really just, I don't know, like that's what drew me into the series. That's what made me go, okay, I get this. And I was already a fan of Bethesda. I'd already played Oblivion at this point, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a great game. I'm really going to enjoy it. But that's where it really clicked for me. And I was like, okay. And I was very, very creeped out by the time I got to the bottom of the building. And I was like, okay, I get this. This is good. This is okay. I'm good. I'm down for the ride. If they're doing this with this building, what the heck else is out there in this wasteland? Awesome.
Yeah, the Dunwich building was incredibly well done. Something else from Fallout 3 that was really sad and unsettling that you had to really look around for. The signals throughout the wasteland. So like you switch on, you find Signal Oscar Zulu or any of these other ones. And you just find sad mini stories of people who maybe survived the initial blast, and then did not fare well.
Yeah.
The Signal Oscar Zulu one I remember specifically because you end up finding this family whose boy was really sick and needed medical assistance. And it's just this call in the dark hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
And nobody came. It's just sad.
That is very sad. And we're laughing at the sadness, which is kind of what you end up doing these games, because there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do. It's very sad. So are we on to New Vegas now?
I had one more really good one for, for the, Ray Bradbury is one of my favorite writers. And I remember being in downtown DC, and you come across the McClellan family townhouse, and there's a Mr. Handy inside who's just kind of doing his thing, talking about the family, and you end up going upstairs, you find the kids dead.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mr. Handy will say the poem "There Will Come Soft Rains," which is a really amazing story that Ray Bradbury did. But it was so dark in the way that Mr. Handy had nothing else to do. So it just was waiting for its family to give it a function, which will never come. And it's kind of like skipping forward to Fallout 4 when you finally meet Cogsworth again. He's been doing nothing but, waxing the car and taking care of the hedges and then maybe scaring off some scavers for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Like
While things slowly break down over time.
Like they're tied to a family and a function, and then everyone dies and they're just left waiting to do anything and have a purpose.
And they seem to either actually have or at least programmed to have emotions.
Yeah, they very much do. Like Cogsworth definitely was really emotional several times throughout that.
Yeah. So is it a glitch? Do they develop emotions? Are they intelligent enough that they like have emergent AI, or are they just programmed to seem like they have emotions to make them fit in better with the family? You know, like which is it? And I don't know that we have an answer for that.
I think the more well-developed ones, ironically enough, you find paired with dynamic families or dynamic programmers. Rose the Raider, we're skipping ahead here to Fallout 76, but is a perfect example of someone out of love programming her to be essentially the replacement for a deceased woman.
Right. Yeah.
And she plays that really well. The personality is there. The intonations are there. It's all intents and purposes a perfect recreation of a living person. There was a lot of love, care, and attention put into humanizing that robot and giving it that intellect and personality and intelligence. And the same is true with any of the other really good Mr. Handys that you find, or even Miss Nannies. They develop a personality of their own depending on the family that they're with. Cogsworth's a great example because he had such a close connection to your family. I'm trying to think of some others. Even Ed E. So Ed E. from New Vegas, we're talking about nothing but an IRA, and all he does is beeps and boops. But
Right.
You develop an attachment to him. And even the one that you end up meeting when you're chasing after Ulysses that ends up sacrificing himself for you. I was upset about that. Like I developed a familiar connection to him, and I didn't want to sacrifice him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I downloaded a mod so he would survive.
So you hacked the game.
I done broke it.
You done broke it. Well, tell you what, why don't we take a break? Because we've got some patrons to thank, and we'll come back when we'll move on to New Vegas. The creepy things about New Vegas.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. It's time for that spring reset. I'm taking a look at everything in my closet and figuring out that, oh no, this absolutely needs to go. And it's about time I replace things so that my clothes aren't older than my 15-year-old. Now you might think that they lasted that long because they were well made, but no, they're in terrible condition. Unlike the new jeans I just got from Quince. Jeans have always been my personal go-to because you can kind of wear them for lots of different things, but maybe they're not your thing. Maybe you're looking for, 100% European linen with insanely soft flow knit activewear fabric. It's definitely getting warmer, and their flow knit activewear is moisture wicking, anti-odor, and soft enough that you'll actually want to wear it every day. So pick out what you want. You can't go wrong because they have prices 50 to 60% less than similar brands. And like I said before, they are high quality. I continue to wear their clothes all the time, and I know that these new jeans are going to last me a lot better than the other things in my wardrobe. And on top of it, they look great. They're so comfortable, and I spent just as much on the jeans that I am now cleaning out of my wardrobe. So if you're looking for something better, just all around better, go check out Quince. So go do it right now. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/falloutlore for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to quince.com/falloutlore for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/falloutlore.
Hello there, old chap. Good to see another of General Atomic's finest, still eager to serve.
All right, we're in the middle of the show, and we've got our patrons to thank, especially our Liberty Prime patron, Jared B. He's our Liberty Pie Man. He goes by Pie Man sometimes. And we also have Southern Rage and Stagger and Stumble, our tier 5 sentry bots that we get to thank every week. And if we've done anything to help you get through your workday, your commutes, your workouts, or your upgrading of your Mr. Handies, then please consider going to patreon.com/Fallout Lorecast and checking out all the different tiers. And you could even for the low price of $1 or $3, if there's even $1 openings, you can get into those, or the $3 tier 2s, you can get ad-free episodes and help support the show. And we would love the support. Currently, we have 46 different patrons, and there's also stickers and t-shirts that are limited edition, and these will go away once they go out to our patrons. They go out every 3 months, and so go check those out. They're up on the Patreon. You just got to scroll down, look at all the pictures, and they will never be up on the store. They will only go out to patrons, and once they're gone, they are gone. And they're just for you guys to say thank you so much. We did not raise the prices. We added those in as a way of saying thanks. And so go check those out. I think they look awesome. And I'm really jealous because I will never have one, but you guys will. So congratulations. So that's what we got going on with that. Also, we have some new patrons. I'm going to start calling these out every week so I don't miss anybody. The newest patron we have is Thunderhead. Welcome to the Patreon, the Thunderhead. Thank you for subbing. And we also have a new review on Apple Podcasts from Crazy Viper, who just found the podcast. Crazy Viper from Great Britain says, favorite podcast, 5 stars, just found your podcast and already can't stop listening. Huge Fallout fan, love the lore. Thank you so much, Crazy Viper. We really appreciate the support, and you guys are awesome. So thank you again for all the support. Very, very, very much appreciate it. All right, let's move on with the rest of the show because we got some more crazy, spoopy stuff to talk about. Here we go.
If you have any questions about Nuka World, I'd be delighted to answer them. Out
right, Ken, what do we got to talk about here for New Vegas? What really creeped you out? What's really unsettling?
Out of all of the vaults that I've ever encountered in any Fallout game, Vault 11 to me was the most unsettling on so many levels.
Okay, so Vault 11.
Yeah, and lore-wise, it has a lot going on, so I made some notes.
Okay.
So Vault 111 was a social experiment in the same way that many of them were. And what made Vault 11 interesting is that it was very much like Shirley Jackson's The Lottery or The Wicker Man.
Right. This is the one where they sacrifice somebody every year in order to and keep the vault going, basically.
And this gets into some pretty dark territory. So the experiment was they had to sacrifice one of them each year, or the computer would kill everyone. In actuality, what it was designed to do is if they chose not to sacrifice anybody and say absolutely not, then the experiment would end, the door would open, and Vault-Tec would commend them essentially for their commitment to human life.
Yes. So that was the solution if they were brave enough to do it. And of course, nobody did it.
But they didn't.
Right.
And by the time the Vault 11 inhabitants actually stopped, there were only 5 people left.
Right.
Where this gets into some really dark territory is that over time, this ended up evolving into multiple different political factions. So you had voting blocks that were the Allied Service Workers Bloc, the Divine Will Bloc, Human Dignity Bloc, Justice Bloc, United Technicians Bloc, and the Utilitarian Bloc. And they would nominate and support overseer candidates based on their own goals. So picture our political system on crack.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's not like there was just like Republicans, Democrats, and then independents and, whatever. There's all of these different people vying for power. Where it gets into a sad part was the final overseer that vault ever had. And prior to that final election, so the Justice Bloc was led by a guy named Roy, who sexually coerced a resident, Catherine Stone, to go up for overseer. And they threatened to nominate her husband, Nathan, should she resist. So we're talking about rape here.
Yeah, yeah. I discussed this episode.
Speaking of themes that would never happen in modern Fallout.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I did an episode on this one during the Vault series. But yeah, absolutely. This is not a modern, well, usually by modern Fallout, I mean 3 New Vegas, 4 in 76. But yeah, if we're talking 4 and 76, this would never come up. A Bethesda made Fallout wouldn't cover this. This is just the Obsidian and original Fallouts, right? This is not one that they would not go here.
And I mean, in a way I can see that, but when you also talk about survival situations and things that would happen, and maybe in a way that our podcast goes into darker territories, these are things and situations that do happen because they happen right now in everyday life. So we're talking post-apocalyptic. Of course, these kind of things would happen, where you're talking about really dark themes of blackmail and rape and all of these things.
Yeah.
So Catherine, she gets her revenge on them, killing them off one by one, until she was the last overseer standing. She ended up dissolving the election process. Said that the position of the overseer would be chosen at random using the Vault's computer system. The Justice Bloc tried to overthrow her. They attempted to stage an armed coup, and that killed nearly all of them, all of the remaining dwellers. By the time you go in there and you make your way through, and you get down into that final section, I remember being absolutely terrified when the walls drop down. The guns start firing.
Yeah.
As you're meant to sacrifice yourself. It was really,
Yeah, that was, I had to play that a few times to survive it. I had to set up some mines and things, I think, in order to game that setup. And I wasn't in power armor or anything at the time. And I was just like, oh, crap. Okay, how do I throw myself in a corner and, throw some grenades and blow stuff up in order to, Oh, man. Yeah, but that whole thing is pretty dark. That's this is not death claws are scary. This is human beings do terrible things, and that is extremely unsettling.
Yeah, it reminds me almost Stephen King's novel, or it was a short story that they turned into a movie. The Mist is a great example of this same kind of thing, where a group of people from all different backgrounds put in a life-threatening situation end up developing factions of their own, and different people rise to power. And you have someone who's motivated by religion, who believes in sacrificing for the greater good, and people trying to fight it. It's almost terrifying when you think of people today being put in situations like this, and how far we would go or what we would do when faced with the threat of death. Yeah.
So do you have any other New Vegas examples?
That was it for New Vegas, aside from maybe the decision to screw over Mr. House and just open his container.
Yeah.
Which means that he ultimately will get infected and just die. But you can choose to leave him. You can also get that crazy special perk where you can eat him along with the other leaders of the Wasteland, the leaders of New Vegas, for a special perk. But
I bet he doesn't taste very good.
He's pretty pissed off at you by the time.
Okay, so Fallout 4. What do you think about Fallout 4?
Yeah, Fallout 4, the most unsettling thing to me is that first beginning bit of the game where it's a race to get down into the vault. You see that atomic blast hit and then go down through just as the shockwave and fire and death just flies over your head.
Yeah.
And then very quickly into the game, that all of a sudden you wake up and, this guy shoots your wife.
Yeah. That's, I mean,
and takes your kid. It's like,
right.
What just happened
Well,
here?
they throw you into a very realistic kind of situation. I mean, they put you in, obviously it's the future and you're in, a fictional world where you have a robot running around, but it's about as close as you get to the kind of situation that we live in now. You're in a home, you have a spouse, you have a child, you've got the TV on, you're talking with your spouse about what's going on. It's kind of an everyday sort of situation, right? And we all can kind of identify with that. And somebody comes to the door, you're kind of doing everyday things, and you never do everyday things in Fallout. Usually it's extreme, right? But yeah, to have that happen, and then all of a sudden all of your neighborhood is now running for shelter, and a bomb goes off within clear sight of your neighborhood, and then the blast washes over you as you go down into a vault, and then you wake up and you see some ruffians show up, murder your spouse, and steal your child. Like that's horrifying, because that could happen to any of us in a pseudo realistic kind of way,
Right.
Like that's something that all of us could fear happening, sure. That's super disturbing. Like that's not super far fetched. Like, again, a death claw, none of us are really worried about leaving our house and running into a death claw out in the wilderness. Like, that's not going to happen. Maybe somebody's, living in a part of the country where they might run into a bear. Sure. That could be a concern, right? Like, maybe you go hunting and you're not prepared to run into a bear because you're hunting turkeys that day or something. But like, yeah, getting murdered or having your spouse murdered and your child abducted, that could be a real concern.
The other, speaking of bears, the jump scare in the cathedral with the death claw was also properly unsettling.
Yes.
You are making your way through the cathedral and you can hear it thumping and crashing, and then of course you're confronted of it.
Yeah, the witches where is it? The witches the museum?
Yeah, it was the Salem Witch Trial Museum.
Yeah. Yep. You hear it kind of thumping around in there. Ooh. Yeah, Deathclaw is stuck in a building. Never a good thing.
No, that was scary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other interesting thing, it's sad, when you get into the RoboBrain Center and you find out more of the backstory about the RoboBrains, that is some pretty sad stuff.
Yeah. Brains stuck in machines. That's kind of depressing.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. What do you think about the living in the what was the DLC with the mist and the people up on the shore?
Yeah, Far Harbor.
The spooky mists and dealing with that whole situation. That's kind of unsettling, right?
Yeah, the creatures coming out of the fog was definitely freaky. To me, I think the most weirdest thing about that one is you go on that random thing. I can't remember the name of it. It's the red something. I remember a fisherman telling the tale. Mm-hmm. So you go out looking for it to this island. Mm-hmm. It ends up being a nothing burger, and then the real one comes. Right. And it's just this gigantic, like Mirelurk queen with this red eyeball. Yeah. But the idea of like living in a place where like dark, creepy mists are and monsters come out of the mists, like that's some traditional horror type stuff, Oh yeah. That's pretty fun. All right. So is that it for Fallout 4? That's it for Fallout 4. Okay. So now we're up to the modern one, Fallout 76. What creeps you out the most about Fallout 76? Fallout 76, Alpine River Cabins. One of the first places when Reclamation Day that I found myself wandering out. So, you see, it's just cute cabins. I wonder if I can plop down my camp here. And in those early days when you first emerge from the vault, you're trying to figure out still where you can even drop a camp. And I thought, this is perfect. Like there's those little cabins. So you go inside and then everything just goes downhill from there. You've got doors slamming behind you and pictures rotating. And you're like, what is going on? Like, and when I came through that part, it was night. Uh-huh. And I hear this screaming, and I'm like, what is going on? Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. When I first got there and I started noticing things were going on, like I had of course played enough Fallout that I was like, okay, what's up? Like, what is going on here? But it does have that, like, there is something unsettling going on thing going. But here's the thing. If you played the game in the first year before Wastelanders came out, you knew there weren't other people around. So you knew it was something.
You know what I thought it was? I thought it was a Wendigo.
Oh, okay.
I saw what the Wendigo looked like, and I was like, nope. So I was waiting for that jump scare. Like, I thought when I got to the final cabin, it would like bust up out of the floors.
Okay. Yeah. See, I knew there weren't any other people around, so I knew it wasn't like humans. So it must have been like automated. There was some sort of automation happening, which kind of ruined it for me. Had I waited and got there after Wastelanders, then I may have actually thought there was somebody out in the woods that was like in trouble or something, because it wouldn't have been spoiled for me, you know. But yeah, that's but yeah, I could totally see running into that, going like, okay, is somebody in danger? What is going on? Is there actually a ghost here? Like, what is that? Because ghosts exist in Fallout. That's a thing. Like, that's happened before.
Tanagra Town is pretty weird. When that vault blew and the FEV just accelerated plant life growth in the mire, you had all of these tentacle-like vines growing everywhere. You get the strangler hearts that grow. And then Tanagra Town just gets lifted up into the sky.
Yeah.
I remember finding that and thinking, good Lord, what happened here?
Yes. I loved the mystery of like the vines and everything, going like, what caused all of this? And then it would have been cool to be part of like the design team conversations about like, what did the vines do? You know, like, how did they lift up the town? What did that look like?
It must have just been a really rapid, crazy, fast growth. And then they just stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause that's what it looks like. Yeah.
But it's one of the weirdest places in all of Appalachia. And then when you're making your way up it, you have to be really careful. I've fallen and died off that thing so many times.
Right. It reminds me of like old Jack and the Beanstalk cartoons, where like the beanstalk comes up real fast, and like the fronds and like branches of the beanstalk like lift like cows and barns and things up with it, you know? Yep. Yeah. But yeah, I love the aesthetic of some of that stuff, like the cars and the other things that are just kind of like propped up and weird. It also gave me that sense of like, is this going to move again? Is this done moving?
Yeah, like, is it going to just keep growing?
Right. Are more of these going to just all of a sudden sprout out of the ground somewhere? Is this done? That's a little bit frightening, because the whole idea of plants doing stuff like that is kind of scary.
The Strangler Hearts are very Little Shop of Horrors too, but it's also really creepy how they can compel and control other creatures.
Yeah.
It's really weird, and almost like a parasitic, symbiotic relationship, which is odd, interestingly, when you think about how the Strangler Heart compels, the Flatwoods Monster compels, and the Scorched Plague compels. There's probably a message there somewhere, but it's interesting how many things have a very compelling message. Right around in that same corner too. Remember the sunken church? The creepy organ music playing at night. Yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah, churches. Anytime you take religious imagery and you make it particularly creepy is always nice. That's always cool too. So, okay. So you have any other 76 stuff?
Just the encounters with cryptids to me are always frightening, particularly in the early days. And for any new players coming to the game, the mechanic that they built in where the Mothman slowly stalks you before your first actual encounter.
Yeah.
Is terrifying. Like, I don't
Right.
know how they coded that, but you'll just be minding your own business, walking around late at night, skipping along with your pigtails flailing in the wind. And then you'll just see two red eyes in the distance just glaring at you.
Yep.
And then if you approach it, it'll just take off and not engage with you. And then I think it's by the third encounter that it'll attack. But
Oh, is it coded like that? Jessica Starr was on last week, and we talked about that a little bit. And I think that's really smart how they set that up, because it does have you on edge, and you're just like, what is that? What is going on? Yeah, I think it would be cool if more stuff did that, just in general. If there were more things that would just kind of watch you from afar and just kind of follow you around. There's just something about that. This idea that, like, yep, I'm being followed. This is creepy.
When they used to do this, and it's unfortunately that new players now won't get a sense of what that was. When they first started dropping bits and pieces of the Van Lowe quest line, we're all looking for the sheep squatch, and we started getting little bits and pieces of it. You find the bodies in up on the hill on the cliffside. What was that? Was it Beckley or? I think it was Beckley.
I don't remember names. I'm so bad at names.
Up on the cliffside where you find two people and then just these huge spikes sticking out of them. Mm-hmm. You'll have a random encounter where you'll find just this nest in the middle of a road, and you'll hear the in the distance.
Wait, what was that? Do that again?
That's my best sheep squatch.
Was that Danny DeVito? Anybody who doesn't listen to the Fallout Hub show is not going to get that joke.
They won't get that reference.
They won't get that reference.
But they set it up so that you're getting little bits and pieces before they drop the actual sheep squatch in the game. Mm-hmm. And the first actual encounter with it is pretty terrifying when you see one for the first time. But up until then, it was just teased in the background before they actually dropped it.
Yeah. That stuff is cool. You know, I've heard conversation. This is getting into more Fallout type of conversation, but this idea that, like, if they could just drop little updates, like little mini updates, stuff like that, a little bit more often into 76, that would be fun. Like little tiny things like this into the game, and just even hint at them. Don't even tell us what they are, but just like, hey, you might want to go look around in this part of the map. Maybe you'll see something you haven't seen before.
Yeah, I enjoy when they give us mysteries to solve that aren't really relevant to anything. They just give us something extra to do. And hunting around for those before the Wastelanders update, when we started getting drop of info where you have to assemble the different pieces to uncover what the secret is, right. The Appalachia, finding out about the gold, and more of the Van Lowe stuff. All of that is really well done.
Right. Or even things that don't even relate to any bigger story, just like minor changes to the world, you know, even just like, hey, even just like a notification or just an image post on Twitter that just has a picture of a building with something changed on it. Like, hey, did anyone notice this on this building before? And then it just leads you on a little journey that, you know, oh yeah, that changed on the building. Oh, and look inside the building. There's this thing here. Oh, and that connects to this other thing over here. And oh, now, you know, like, what is that connected to? And it just gets you looking around for things, you know? And then maybe it connects to the you know, something, but it isn't necessarily connected to some big story plot thing. It's just stuff to get you looking around, and maybe that connects to like a new monster, or you know, scorched are now turning purple for some reason. Who knows why?
Yeah, the best example I saw of that is when they placed the standing stones in the game. When they dropped those, I remember that the whole entire community and the data miners were trying to decode what the etchings were on the surface. And there were all kinds of crazy theories.
Yeah.
Like people, they brought in actual code breakers for the military were consulting. And
Yeah.
like it was
that's
this
just
whole
fun.
thing. But they worked on it for, I think, a good month or 2 months. But yeah, it got everybody working together. It was interesting.
Right. And it could be as simple as something like some stuff just leads you to a vault where there's just like treasure that spawns in the map on occasion. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You know, or just another massive enemy that shows up, you know, on some sort of, you know, random cooldown. Cool. Now we discovered where a massive enemy shows up. That's cool. Yeah. You know, anything like that would be neat and just like give us a trail. And I'm not a dev, but my guess is that that kind of adjustment to the game probably doesn't take that long to design and implement compared to these like other massive changes. That's probably a few people working on it for a month rather than lots of developers working on things for 6 months or a year, you know? So I don't know, just an idea. But all right, so to wrap this all up, we've gone through all the games, a bunch of creepy stuff. If you had to say the thing that has gotten under your skin the most, the thing that has really, really unsettled you, or we could even phrase it this way. If you were in the world of Fallout, what would be the thing that you would, if you came across it, would just like, you would just nope out immediately? The situation, the thing that would just like, oh my God, I would never, ever want to come across this or have to deal with it. The most horrible situation. And it can be like a short-term thing. It can be like, oh my God, I just stumbled into Nipton and there are people on crosses. Nope. Like we talked about that. Or it can be like, oh, I never want to pick up like, you know, the radio signal for those terrible stories that happened 100 years ago. Now I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night because I just feel so bad for those people. Like that's more of like a long-term psychological thing, right? Like, what do you think? What's the absolute worst for you?
I still think it's going to have to be yeah, it still has to be the master.
Yeah, the master's still just the worst.
I would just say, you know what? Screw the water chip, screw everything that's going on here. I'm going to go build a little house and you all can figure it out. Because there's a man blob thing on a machine and I'm not really interested in any of this. Right.
Okay. Like you finally get to the place where you get face to gooey, drippy face with the master, and he just starts doing his like weird talky thing at you, and you're just like,
see you later.
Never mind. I just killed however many super mutants to get here.
Roll credits.
Nope.
I am done.
You're the thing behind this? No, thank you. Okay. Nightmares forever.
Yeah.
All right.
All 13's over there. Here's a map. Leave me alone. Goodbye.
All right. I'm going to go crawl in a hole. I'm going to go live in a hole for the rest of my life. Just leave me alone.
I'm good.
All right. Cool, man. That's awesome. So I know you're working on some fun new stuff for your Chad Fallout 76 show. What do you have coming down the way? I know you have some like massive episode stuff going on. Like what else is coming?
Yeah, we do. We just dropped a mini-sode that Clint Winbury, who voices Moose, wrote, and it is so funny, called The Great Beer Run. And in the next few days here, we're dropping part 1 of our Dark Halloween special. I was going to, and this is kind of also a Fallout Hub conversation. Normally, I like dropping mega episodes because they're kind of like almost feature length movies.
Yeah.
But what I found, and I even polled on this, people like hour long episodes. So even if I break it up into multiple parts, they prefer that as opposed to like these 2 or 3 hour episodes.
I agree. I find it easier. Yeah, I find it easier to get through an hour episode and then pick up on the next release than to remember to go back and continue listening through a really long podcast. Yeah. So I'm going to drop that part sooner, but it sees the return of Mr. Dark, played by Andreas Somville. It is
probably, speaking of unsettling things, this is the darkest episode we have ever done.
Oh boy.
It goes into some pretty dark territories. And Simon's character is going to be changed significantly after it.
Never be the same again.
He will not be. But it also introduces a new character called Dolos the Archivist, played by Bethesda's Ferret Bowden,
Nice.
which I was really excited to write for, and he did an amazing job.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, Ferret's such a cool guy. That'll be
Yeah,
exciting.
he really is.
It'll be cool
Yeah.
to hear him. Well, that's super fun. Anything else coming that you want to share before we head out?
After that, it's full steam ahead for Fallout for Hope, which is December 4th to the 19th.
Yes. So be ready for that. Lots of people will be streaming and supporting that. And we've got a big goal this year.
We do.
What's the goal?
$500,000.
$500,000. They need to relaunch the what was the name of that movie? Why is that
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers? My brain was just blanking on that. Austin Powers. That would be really funny. I would love to see another Austin Powers film 20 years later. Oh man. But yeah, $500,000 for the children, to help the children. Fallout for Hope. Last year, how much did we raise? How much was it?
$109,000 in 1 week.
In 1 week. And this year is going to be a
with
much
no
bigger.
planning.
Yeah, no
So
planning.
this year we've been planning since January, ironically enough. And this year St. Jude's has partnered with us directly. We have corporate sponsors, as well as staffing, and it's just put together a lot more tightly. So for 2 weeks, we're really confident we can nail that goal.
Right. So we have a bunch of streamers, a bunch of people, the Fallout community gathered together, raising money for St. Jude's. And this is to help children, people, families, children who have special needs, special medical conditions. And
yeah, they specialize. It's life-threatening children's diseases, most of which really is childhood leukemia. When it first started, when the hospital opened, the survival rate was 20%. But thanks to the hospital, they've got that up to 80%.
That's amazing. What a wonderful thing. Talk about terrible, horrific things and actually making a difference to remove those terrible, horrific things. So that's amazing. So
Definitely a cool organization. Yeah, the families never see a bill of any kind, which cannot be said of most hospitals. So the child is taken care of, the family's needs are taken care of. It's all good. They never see a bill.
Yeah. So I don't know if you feel like, I know I get this way. I know a lot of us get this way. Like the world is sometimes feels dark and terrible. And there's a lot of just not good things happening in the world. This is a positive thing. This is a bright light. This is a thing that makes people's lives better, actually makes a difference for real people, for the parents, for the children, gives children opportunities. This is an amazing thing. So, and when does this start?
December 4th.
So just a few months, and this will be Christmas season. So if you're looking for something to actually make a difference and make a real difference in the world, this is a wonderful thing to contribute to. So be just ready for that. We'll be sharing more info about that on my streams and podcasts, and Ken will be sharing more about that on Chat of Fallout 76 podcasts and on the Fallout Hub. We'll be talking about that as well. And if you want to tune into any of those shows, they're all on the Robots Radio Network. Ken and I are also on the Fallout Hub. We post an episode almost every other week-ish where we talk about the Fallout 76 with our good buddy Dave. And you can tune into my shows in the mornings. I do streams now in the mornings where I'm either editing podcasts and videos and things like that and chatting with you guys to help answer questions about content creation. I'd love to share any of the information that I've got stored up in this noggin with you guys to help with your own ideas. Or sometimes I'm playing games, like I've been playing Back 4 Blood. Sometimes I play Fallout 76 or just other stuff that I want to play. And I'm happy to hang out with you guys. I've been trying to find people who can play games with me in the morning. So if you want to join my crew, then let me know. Show up at twitch.tv/robotsradio. I usually start around 8:30 a.m. in the Eastern time. So if you're able to play mornings with me, I would love to have you join me. So that's what I got going on. Anything else, Ken? You good?
That is it.
That is it. So thank you for tuning in
stay
again.
Spoopy.
Yeah, stay spoopy, stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And we will see you again next week for another spoopy episode. All right, everybody. See you later.
Take care.
To plug into everything else we're doing, check out robotsradio.net. Also, look up the Robots Radio YouTube for videos about Fallout and other things. And check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/robotsradio.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.